Hey guys, welcome back to Saving for Myself podcast with your host, Ty June. And today we're going to talk about school days with everyone going back to school and getting back into the groove of that routine, and maybe want to talk about my school experiences and the things that could be different now or the same then. And so welcome to episode 5, Save Me from My School Days. So let's start immediately into elementary school. Now, I remember in elementary school, I was very active. I think I was taller than I was supposed to have been for my age, but a lot of times that was fine because I was very competitive anyway. And if I can't recall, there was this guy named Corey. Every time we had school Olympics or, things like that, he would be the only one I could probably compete against because we were both really fast. We were both really good runners. And so teachers even recognized that too. And it was always trying to pin us against each other. But yeah, I was very competitive, still very active even then, and just trying to, collectively beat all the guys, I guess. And it always seemed that I was be the outcome. Corey was slightly shorter than me, but he wasn't as fast as me. But he had times where he could beat me in other things, and that is totally okay. Corey, you win. You got it. Enough said. And that was probably early on, like kindergarten, first grade. And I was fortunate enough in first grade that I was able to be incorporated into the magnet program. Now, magnet programs are probably what they now consider almost like the AP level or gifted programs for elementary school, even middle school and so on. And so I was lucky enough to attend that school. And what's so funny still to this day, their mascot was a rocket ship. I don't know why. Still to this day, I feel like they must have been training us for NASA or to work for NASA or what have you, because every month we always had an inflatable observatory in our gym, and we could, check the stars and constellations and locations for that month. And I it's a part of the curriculum. It was a part of our technology and communications type school, engineering. If I'm not mistaken, now that school is still considered a magnet program, and as far as engineering. But as you kind of guys know now, that NASA is not really like NASA anymore. But it was kind of cool to think the fact that if they were training us to work for NASA, then it would have been like really easy in and be like, hey, I went to this school, so you should hire me. Kind of like being related to a Harvard alumni or something of that nature. Like, hey, I went here, and we learned how to already do this in first, second, and third grade. Is when I was learning engineering and communications in that early age. So magnet programs were really great of specializing in, intentions to already start developing early, regardless of the age. Not to my own horn, to be able to attend these schools, you needed to have good grades. So I was always on the principal's list or had straight A's in the school. Side note, some of you may know that my mom's a single parent, and we lived in a low income housing apartment projects, whatever you want to call it, side of town. And my grades were really great. So what they had was there was a magnet school. I was in a different side of town, and the school wanted me to attend their school. So the county made it ways for students like me to be able to still attend upper Ivy League style schools, even living in the rougher side of town or the low income side of town. And I remember I had to get up really early, something as like 5 a.m., something like that. And the reason was that is because I had to get on the bus within the local area where the projects were. And that bus would take me to like a hub where other buses had picked up other students from across their regions. And we met in this pool So you get off one bus, then get onto another bus, and that bus took me to the prestigious side of town and all that stuff to attend that school. Like, even though I was on like the bad side of town, they saw any grades and gave us a chance. And of course, their school is getting a better ranking in the process. But it just made you feel also the fact that it didn't matter that you live in the projects or live on the bad side of town. There was still a ways to get up and out and flourish and, expand your mind and even get great from that. This was like one of the few times I was in school where I felt like I belonged. I was able to be myself. I did art. I was lucky enough to have one of my pieces in a local museum on display for like Student Art Week. And I believe it was also on the website and also in the newspaper. And I wish I could find that. I don't know, have any idea. Maybe it's still at the school. I don't know. But what I did is I made like a landscape style layout of my name. And so for each letter of my name, I made it a building. And so it ended up being like a block, like a city block. So you had your houses, your cafe, your bank, your church. And I made each building a particular element of the letter of my name. And it was really cool. Got to see that in the museum for Student Week and on the website and the newspaper. So that was really cool. Showing, the bright young students of this school, look at us kind of thing. And so it was just kind of one of those things where I was, of course, as even now, still into music and art. Makes sense. That was where some of that festered and molded me into the stuff that I do now. But it's like really cool too. Like my art teacher and my music teacher were both Black males, which till this day is still one of the coolest things ever. I don't even know if that even is a thing anymore, but they were so cool. Even like my Black art teacher, I remember he wanted me to look at a photo of I think it was a Black hawk or an eagle, look at it and draw it from memory. That was one of the coolest things I ever did. And again, I'm only in like probably second grade at this point. And then my art teacher had this song to help us remember our primary and secondary colors. Till this day, I still sing it in my head just so I can remember. Just like people remembering, how to do how many calendar days in each month, or remember your B's and your D's. And so there's this stuff that you remember from then that you even 20, 30 years later are still incorporating into your daily life, which is crazy. And like stuff what made this school so cool. And guys remember book fairs. I remember book fairs. Book fairs were like the best thing ever. Kind of help you like remember to like how to monetize and save your money and figure out what you wanted. And the teacher would give you a chance to go after class or after lunch and stuff like that. So the book fairs was cool. But one thing I think I remember that if you were in my class, then I can't even recall if anyone ever had this experience. During St. Patrick's Day, I guess we kind of made it a week-long thing. There was a leprechaun loose in the school. So our teachers tasked us, again, going back to the engineering element of things, our teachers tasked us to make traps for the leprechaun. So we would set them up in class and try to catch them. I remember I made mine out of a shoebox. I colored it green, had green paper. Again, being in that economical situation where I didn't have ability to go buy a lot of things, I was able to figure out things that I could find around the house with shoe boxes, napkins, green napkins particularly, aluminum foil, straw, string. And then of course I made like a little basket and was able to put like the candy, the gold candy in there as a pot of gold. So so crazy is because once he reaches into the pot, I had it trapped so where once the weight would move, it would close the door behind him. Bruh, this is so crazy. So we all made traps. And when we went to lunch and we came back, our classroom was trashed. Everybody's traps were thrown to the side, messed up. There was green footprints on the ceiling. He wrote jokes in green marker on the whiteboard, and it was just a mess. And but what's so funny is though, he left behind a green juice. And now that I think back on it, I want to say it was probably like the green sorbet and like soda, but it was really good. My kid brain was just like, oh my God, this is like the coolest thing ever. But yeah, just little things like that that I hope is still incorporated in schools to get the interaction of the curriculum, but still have the holiday incorporated or something like that. That was still one of my treasured memories I will always have forever. Um, and And one thing too, since my mom did work, she didn't get off until 5, and then I believe she worked about 30 minutes away. So I was able to attend after school programs. So in this school, they let us choose between two after school activities that were included in the after school program funds or lineup. So I had to choose between ballet and karate. So in that time, I choose ballet. If now that I look back on it, I should have took karate or both. I don't know, but I ended up with ballet. And I was, again, known as like the dancer of the school. And so when there was things that needed to be incorporated with dancing or something, it was get her. She knows what she does. And I remember we did a routine for ABC 1, 2, 3 by the Jackson 5. And it was a different groups of us from the different classrooms. And I remember we had reading, writing, arithmetic on chairs. So the routine had it to where you would turn the chair and sit in it. So it would reveal the word in order. And then people had the 1, 2, 3 signs, ABC signs, and stuff like that. So we had that in the auditorium / cafeteria. And yeah, so like I was there until about 3rd grade. And it was just kind of interesting. Crazy thing. So, well, it's not crazy. It's a kind of cool concept. So the gym next to the cafeteria, and they would have the garage doors in between, so they can have them either integrate together for events or separate them. And just thinking about this makes pain go through my spine. Our gym was carpeted. I can just imagine, and I remember just imagine carpet burns. I'm even thinking like my knees were so black, and growing up, just because I'm tomboy anyway, but it's the thought of like they could have been rescued because our carpeted gym floor, ouch, hated it. Kickball and everything. I'm like, I wonder if the carpet was there because it was softer or safer, I guess, versus just floor. Because if you did hit your head on the carpet, I don't think the impact was as rough if it was like just floor. I would like to have like the dojo mat material or like the cheerleading mat material. That would have been fine. But I guess it wouldn't have made like other sports as real because of the springiness. I don't know. And so unfortunately moving, and I had to go to another school, but it was still a part of the magnet program. So the magnet program was still incorporated with me. And so this school was, since the last school was a specialization in magnet program for engineering and technology, this school was specializing in video and communication and leadership. And so I was able to go through that school. It was a different program, but still incorporating just intelligence and, narrowing that down. I remember one thing too, even just looking at it right here on my court board, is the Harlem Globetrotters came to visit us. They performed in the gym. I'm sure I don't have the original copy, but this is a copy of the millions of copies that were made to give out to every student of the Harlem Globetrotters, signing it. I still have it though, which is really cool. And it's there forever. And what else happened there? Oh yeah, we had a time capsule. Even looking into the schools a little bit more to see if there's any differences or similarities. I don't know if they ever opened it or if it's even time to open it. If I'm not mistaken, it was probably 50 years on the time capsule. So then that means it's not open yet. but it's like, I can't remember when it was put in. I think it was put in like 2002, 3, something like that, right? And so, yeah, we still got a long way to go, but I just remember the time capsule. It was rectangular and it was put under the flag in front of the school's front door. And man, I would love to be around if that happens to get opened again. Do I even remember what I put in there? I don't know. But all I know is when they ever do open it up, the current generation that's opening it up is going to be so confused. Even thinking about CDs are still doing things, cassettes. Maybe I put it in like the original OG iPod, the fat chunky one. Who knows? That's gonna be a very interesting. If I ever get a chance to figure out when they're opening that's probably will be on my list. Forget my class reunion. I'm going to the time capsule opening. And you always know, like you had. I was in 3rd grade. I remember. And then 4th grade and so on, we always had like our crushes. And I remember I was in 3rd grade. Again, I didn't look like a 3rd grader. I never looked like the age I was in. So I had a crush on a 5th grader, and I was cool with the 5th graders. But then they found out I was in the 3rd grade, and that was really different because the guy I had a crush on, I think it was a hall monitor, as well as like we had a wall for like student of the months. And his name was Christopher. I remember, like, just remember how to spell it. Chris stop her, and inside joke. Don't worry. And it was just really weird because he was going to middle school and I was still like, young. And he danced with me at the dance though. We were during that time, and I remember what's that song Sammy made. I like the way you look. Yeah, that was cool. But as time goes on, I remember us having like fundraising competitions. I'm sure everyone did this. It was this big book, a catalog. You had to sell stuff. And depending on what bracket you made, a certain amount of money in bracket would be what the prize you could get. So you would get to like, say, tier 6. And so you got everything from tier 6 and beyond. And I remember the ultimate winning, I guess, class or group was there was a limousine ride to McDonald's for lunch. I don't know why that was the thing. But even before that, there was chances to get into like the money machine, get little trinkets and stuff like that. So that was really cool. If you guys experienced that, let me know in the comments, because I'm sure my county and school were not the only district doing stuff like that. But yeah, just having the opportunity to just be happy to go to school. Stuff like that was just really, really crazy. And of course, the one thing for the magnet academies, they made us wear uniforms. I think that, yeah, they still do today. They're, like you have a polo, skirts, dresses, pants, khakis, navy blue, white. I think the school even had like white, blue, red now. And then the dresses, you wore a polo underneath the dress. And the dress could be either khaki or navy blue or possibly red. And the skirts came in khaki blue as well. And so magnet programs require you to wear uniforms, and which was okay with me because a lot of times you can find those uniforms. I remember I was getting my uniforms from the Family Dollar. They had them in the Family Dollar, and I had no problem with getting it either, no matter. And here's what's so crazy: even though they identify the polos, the collar would be ruffly for the girls or just a straight collar for the boys. I didn't care. Whatever was available, I was wearing the polo. I was in my uniform, wasn't getting in trouble. It didn't matter if it was ruffled or not. And I remember also, again, being very active after school program. We would be playing outside. My mom would know, it's like I get so red when I get hot. I don't know if I still do now, but when I was a kid growing up, my face would just be really red when I'm playing or being active or outside. I'd just be red as a cherry. She'll come pick me up. She was like, "Oh, yeah, I played outside today." I'm like, yes, it was fun, whatever. After school program, again, my mom gets off at 5, and it takes her about 30 minutes or so to get to school to pick me up.
Hey, so
And so we always had different
here.
activities
So some of the
after school.
extracurricular activities or after school program things we were able to do. I did another talent show, of course. duh. And so I don't know who's old enough to remember the Cheetah Girls, but I feel like before the talent show, about a week prior, so before there was recording or anything, I used to get my karaoke machine, get the cassettes from the dollar store, get my microphone from the karaoke machine, put it up to the speaker of the TV. So any songs that I wanted to save or have, I can copy it, record it onto a cassette tape. So like, I wanna be like Cinderella, sitting in the dark, cold, dusty cellar. And as far as like the finale, Cheetah Girls, Cheetah Sisters. So did the routines, I taught myself the choreography, and I used that cassette as my backtrack for the talent show. So that's just another weird story, but now you know.
I remember one time I told someone I could cut my hair, and I cut my hair, and my mom got mad. I didn't cut it off, but it just all the black girls know the bobbies from the corner store, and then the twist with the clip on it. It just so happens I just end up cutting that part off, and I tucked it behind my ear, and she didn't think she was gonna notice, I guess. And so yeah, that happened, and yeah, everyone remembers that traditional black girl parts 3-4 ways, twist it down, put the little bobby on, and clip it. I swear my hair was so thick, those bobbies will break throughout the day. I'm surprised I didn't like zoom across the room. My mom, it happens at home. My mom would go put them on, twist it, and give it a few seconds, go to the next scene, and it go shoot across the room. But yeah, we just had this little big chest of just bobbies and clips and pins and patterns and designs. It was insane. But yeah, I always got it from the corner store. I think it was like Amy's or something. And she sold weave and wigs and shoes and hair clips, and you name it. It was a part of that. Um, but yeah, I think I wore the skirts a lot and the polos a lot, but it didn't matter. But elementary school were my discovery years, and I figured out I love science. If you not have figured this out, I was implanted with liking space and science. Space and science. And so, yeah, I guess I can blame my adolescence for incorporating space engineering and science into my life. And now it's everywhere. Now moving over to middle school. Middle school was hard, really, really hard. Um, Middle school was really hard because I moved again, and I went from being able to go to the magnet program to being zoned to one of the worst schools in the country, if I'm not mistaken. I hope it's not on that list anymore. I think it's gotten better. If not mistaken, I met a girl that I trained kickboxing in. She actually teaches there now, and I think it's considered an academy now as well. So I think they have gotten better, and that's good to hear. Um, yeah, so I went from the magnet program and going to this really rough middle school. This caused me to get into like a survival mode, more so like protect myself from being bullied. And unfortunately, I was bullying others, and it was just this whole unnecessary cycle of being bullied and bullying others and trying to survive and make it. Um, and in the mix of all of this, I still found music again. I was in orchestra. I played the piano. I mean, I guess in this case it was a keyboard because the school wasn't that well funded for an actual full piano. So keyboard was the next best thing. And so, rumble, rumble, rumble. I don't know if you can hear it's raining, but it sounds nice though. So I did performances. I remember I had a solo. I would never forget. And I thank that teacher for looking past like my conduct and my issues and just let me play. Um, like it was that school was so bad to the point I was purposely going to ISS in school suspension just because the in school suspension classroom was better than the classes that I had. It was held by the counselor, what made it even better because the counselor was there to be empathetic and understanding and listen to you and also giving you your lessons plans, but it just felt much safer there. And of course, like, with this happening, even though I was getting straight A's, my conduct was always an F. And so what they do in this county is that, they send you to summer conduct school, or known as like Rose Hill or whatever. It's just an old building where they used to stick the trouble kids for the summer. They made us wear a uniform. It was white shirt, black pants. That's all we could wear. And I still had good grades though. And I was just in the magnet program from people that sold drugs, for people that SA and all this other stuff. And it's like, I just got in trouble because I run my mouth too much, obviously. And so it was just crazy, kind of, I was there, I stayed out of trouble. The teachers there would tell my mom I'm great or what have you. I don't know any other way to put it. I made it through. They made us do a speech at the end of like things we learned or what we didn't learn and how to better ourselves and stuff like that. And I remember some of it. I remember not that much of it. I do remember a lesson they asked, like, what is the thing that you would use in a situation if you're stranded on a desert island, and gave us a list of items and what you would do with those items and how to, whatever. But yeah, when overhead projectors were still a thing. If you guys were around for overhead projectors, let me know, because I hated those things. The teacher couldn't figure them out. If they did, kind of get the focus point. I don't know. I couldn't read half the time if the teacher couldn't figure out how to make it zoom in or not. I'm kind of glad you guys got the smart boards now. You got the projectors. Everything's fine. You don't have to worry about overheads. That was like a wake-up call. I guess I do thank my mom for getting me out of that school, because I was only in that school for a semester. And then from the semester of 6th grade, and I got to another school. And I appreciate her from getting me out of there. There was no way I was going to go all middle school, junior high to do that. And so for the rest of the 6th stretch, 7th and 8th, I went to another school. The principal understood my past, but he, what would you call it? Yeah, threw out my file record and gave me like a clean slate. No one in the school knew about me prior. No one knew at the school what I was in trouble for prior. There was nothing really known to my teachers of my conduct, but my grades again are still principal's list, AB honor roll. I always just had an F in conduct. Even with this school, I was still bullied a lot. I never really knew why until I got older. When I got older, looking back at it, it was because it was mostly because I was pretty and light skinned. This is not me being like conceited or anything, but there was only a handful of light skinned girls in my grade level. And so there was like only a few of us in my whole class. Remember Chelsea? She was dating Philip, which happens to have been the most popular boy in school, because he's also light skinned and he's also cute and cool and everybody liked him. So therefore Chelsea didn't get bothered or picked on, because two of the prettier light skinned people were together and no one bothered them. So yeah, she was safe. Like guys didn't like me that much. I guess the girls just hating, and it didn't matter half the time. I remember this one girl named Matsune, will never forget her, because she was one of my main bullies. And I think around like 7th or 8th grade in English class, Miss Thomas's English class, she said something, and I can't remember what it was, but it just set me off. I relinquished like 2.5 years of just my issues and anger I had with her, all in that one moment. And she stopped bothering me. She stopped bullying me ever since after that. We were pretty cool even after that too. So I never could understand the reasoning. I don't know. It doesn't matter now. But it was just one of those things. It's like, yeah, middle school is going to suck. I'm sorry for any future parents got kids coming up. Middle school sucks. Everyone's going through hormones. Everyone's trying to figure out how to fit in, and everyone's trying to understand who they are. And it's going to be a bumpy ride. So buckle in. Just be prepared, parents, because you probably had the similar middle school experience I had, but just know you already went through it, and so you should be able to garner and get your kids ready, because middle school, that's the only time I can complain about is middle school. Again, here we are with the music. Music there, I was in choir and also in art class. Duh. We had a morning news show called Jag Talk. Our mascot was Jaguars, so that's where that comes from. I remember I did a skit on there. It was we did a praise dance. I just wanna praise you. I get the shackles off my feet so I can dance. So I can't even remember why we did that, but again, somehow, Tiana and this dancer at the school. Well, here I am. Go get her. She's a dancer. Go get her. So I ended up being in that praise dance that used to play. I think it played for like maybe weeks at the beginning of or a commercial break or something on Jag Talk, and I can't remember why. I don't know. I just remember seeing myself every day up there for a while. And then going back to like the whole like hormones and insecurities and things like that. I remember back then I was like, oh, what we had. Of course, there was Philip, there was Trey, there was Jonathan. And of course, I remember like wearing a skirt to school to try to get attention. And of course, I know it didn't work. I don't know why it didn't work. I look good. I don't care what no one said, but I was trying to get attention from the guys and it didn't work. I was trying to be cool. I was trying to be popular. But the crazy thing is my first boyfriend was in 7th grade. His name was Daniel. And it's really cool that we're even friends now. To this day, we're still friends. He does music now. And again, I'm gonna need your help with music. If you're listening to this or seeing this, I need some beats, please and thank you. And so, yeah, I was going through that and just finding yourself is hard. And that time was just made it more difficult. We need more counseling and something because, I was still getting in trouble early on too. Oh, and I remember this random memory. I didn't even write this one down. People remember dog sled competitions? Well, my teacher loved these dog sled competitions, and she would put the map that their trail is on the wall, and they would mark where they are every day. And was this at the Olympics or was it separate from the Olympics? I don't remember, but we would keep track of which team we wanted to win and where city or stop they would be at every day. And every day she would come in and move the markers off the board and let us know who was winning and who was behind and all that crazy stuff. So it's insane. But yeah, dog sledding, like Cuba Gooding Jr. movie. Can't remember the name right now. But yeah, so stuff like that, just keep you engaged and again, love my science. I love my science. And I did the true Bounty paper towel experiment, like true to the T with different liquids, not just clear water or whatever. I did different liquids. So that was fun. But yeah. So even now it's like moving into high school. High school was one of the really exciting times. I did a lot. I participated in Skills USA. I was a secretary for Skills USA for a bit. I did RAD, which is Raiders Against Destructive Decisions, and Raiders is our mascot, so RADD. There was like Mad, Sad, and Rad. Sad was students, Mad was moms. And I was the president of the Raiders division, and I did that. And my main is always in my element. I did drama and chorus and dance, of course. I was honored to be inducted into the Thespian Society. Thespian Society, for those of you who don't know, going back to early times during the Greek period, Thespis was an actor, and that's where the word comes from, is Thespis, thespian. And so thespian, even people like Chuck Norris are thespians. Some of your fellow famous actors and actresses are probably also thespians. So I am honored to be amongst the greats as far as stage and performance. And my favorite person in the whole wide world is my drama teacher director, Miss Platts. I still keep in touch with her to this day. When I'm in town, I still hit her up, we go get coffee, we catch up. She's married now. I feel like all 10 years of students were invited to her wedding. And she's retiring soon. I'm so excited for her. I can't wait for her to retire teaching. But yeah, and it also just shows me that love and marriage doesn't have to happen early. I think she was in her 40s. She doesn't tell me her age anymore. I don't remember. But I'm sure she's in her 50s now. But I just knowing that she just got married within the past 10 years, and that it's okay, that marriage doesn't have to happen in an early time or time stamp. None of that is important. It's important of who you find, and you want to be with them forever. It doesn't matter if you're 20s or if you're in your 60s. It's okay. She made that very understandable, and I love seeing when I get on Facebook and I see her and him going on trips, going on dates. It's so fun, because if anyone deserves to be happy internally and forever, it's her, because she's taught so many of us drama heads and glee, whatever you want to categorize us, but there's a lot of us floating around that have been touched or inspired or fluttered by this woman. Best person ever. We love you, Miss Platts. And yeah, she, for my senior year, we have this thing where it's called Page One nominations, which is a teacher or a category would pick a student that they believe is at the highest level or the highest quality of selection for that category. So for me, it was drama. There was foreign language, history, math, science, and everything like that. And so, I always felt like, again, I always have this I don't belong feeling, and I kind of hated that. But all the other Page One nominees were valedictorian, salutatorian. The smart kids of the school were lined up with me, and I'm over here like, hi, I can sing and I can dance and I can act. Whew. And so, yeah, you get nominated for your school, and then you compete against other people in the counties, surrounding counties, and you get interviewed, and you get tasked to do, what would you call it, a volunteer project. I ended up going to the Boys and Girls Club. Boys and Girls Club helped me out a lot, because Boys and Girls Club was around for when I was a kid during the summer. When my mom would work, the Boys and Girls Club was where I was. So I wanted to put on a play about going green and being economical and saving the planet. And so I ended up getting the creative kits of one of the Boys and Girls Club location, and we put on the play in front of everyone at the gym, at the Boys and Girls Club. Man, if I could find those pictures or video. Yeah, it was crazy. Just trying to encourage kids to recycle and plant trees, and it was great. And no, I didn't win Page One for drama. My cousin actually did. Kudos to him. It's crazy too, because his school didn't have a drama department or a drama program. So he ended up incorporating it or finding a way to make it where his school could have drama. And the rest is history, right? He's been in ATL. He's been in shows, movies, and everything. And yeah, that one little domino he put into his life created his future and others for the coming into school to do the drama stuff. So yeah, that is a cool, awesome element. But yeah, it's like, yeah, it runs in our family, right? And so it was always drama and choir and dance for me. I can't even think how many. I want to say around 100. Let me just say 100 plus, because between all the performances for choir, all the performances for drama, competition, everything across the 4 years, I probably did 100 and plus shows and performances. I did plays, competition plays against other schools and other regions. I did choir competition where we did songs and compete against other schools, rivalry schools. And I ended up being an alto too. And my voice isn't that high, but my singing voice is practically in the really low range. And I even did baritone for a song because of the range it was. And again, I'm in high school. I don't even know where my voice is finishing developing or if it did develop where it was supposed to be, but I was able to do those range, bass, baritone, and alto 2, alto 1 maybe on a good day. But yeah, so just competing, going to different places, going to competition, going to region, Skills USA, same thing with that, doing competition, going to regionals, and things like that. And so I was, without the Skills USA stuff outside of the performing arts department, with the drama and competitions, and there was talent shows. I was known as Miss Michael Jackson for a little bit because I used to perform Michael Jackson stuff all the time. I performed Billie Jean and also Smooth Criminal. I performed Billie Jean for Motown Month, and I did Smooth Criminal for a talent show. If you, I dare you to find it. There is a Billie Jean video somewhere floating around on Facebook. I dare you to find it. I found it. It took me forever. It's probably 13 years old now. I had the hat. I had a pink shirt. I had a scarf that was shiny. I had the black pants. And these were particular shoes. I wore them down so much to the point it's the only shoes that allow me to do moonwalk. And so it's like slick on the bottom. And I did that for Billie Jean. I don't know if the Smooth Criminal video is out there, but I had a hat, black pants, red long sleeve shirt, and suspenders. And I did Smooth Criminal like really well. I still remember it to this day. Like I memorized the dancing to this day. I could rock it out. I threw my hat in the crowd. I remember that. I took the hat off, threw it in the crowd. Yes, fun days. And even if I wasn't on stage, I did lighting and spotlight, light, trees, sound, things like that. And they always had the saying that actors do it on stage, techies do it in the dark. And yeah. But so I was really well versed in all aspects of stage, production, all that stuff. And yeah, I was predecessors to some of the greatest people, a few upperclassmen above me that were like Stephanie and Crystal. I remember them very well, and I hope they're doing great because a lot of the things they didn't realize we were looking up to them, and we were doing our greatest and our best to be as good as them. And hence me being nominated for Page One, being dubbed into the International Thespian Society, you name it. So I thank you guys for all the love, push and love from all those years, and stuff like that. But yeah, Michael Jackson, I like him, and he's a Virgo, just like me. Can't go wrong. And so with the Skills USA stuff, I was getting into like the public safety program. And that was like criminal justice and investigations. Miss Tovey, I remember I was pretending what were we doing? Oh, we were doing gun procedures, and I was pretending to aim my gun at her, and she flipped on me so fast. She disarmed me. Don't get me wrong, I already broke rule number one. You're never supposed to aim a gun at anyone, regardless if it's a toy and or orange. It doesn't matter. Don't do it. But the fact that she was able to disarm me, never lived it down. It's still in my memory to this day. And it was like, ooh, ah. Well, that's what I get for not following the rules of like pointing a weapon at someone, even if it's fake. And one cool thing, her husband would come up to school. So for aspartame training, her husband would wear the red man suit, which is like all this padding that he wears head to toe. And we would practice our aspartame resisting arrest people. He would resist us, and we would use aspartames. And there's certain places you can do where there's this area where your waist is. If you go about maybe about 6 inches down, there is a spot you can hit on someone where it makes their legs give out, because it's that, the word blanks me. There's a nerve that goes from there all the way down to your toe. So you can literally hit this spot and your legs will give out. Like you need some milk, give out. Like it's that bad. So we would practice stuff, surf on the arm area, places to hit and places where not to hit. And that was always fun because we used to go outside to do this so we have more room. And her husband was so funny about his comebacks. It's like, I ain't do nothing. What do you mean? I didn't do nothing. I'm leaving. And he was such a trooper. So that's what husbands are for. Get you a husband that will show up to your wife's job and get on some paddings and let their kids just hit you with real aspartans. So aspartans kind of are in a cylinder like this, and they're probably this big. But you have to use force, not that. You have to use force for it to come out and extend, and to close it, you have to put it against something like a floor or a wall. But yeah, he took it like he was a trooper. He was fun. And that class too also let us do courses online that can help towards college credit. So I was benefiting from that class as well, which I could use towards college credits, and use those skills and everything from that and take it with me, or skip, or it can be counted as a college credit while I was in high school. And so those skills and things were very, very important. It was called Work Ready as well. So Work Ready, you got certified, you got certificate, you got bronze, silver, or gold, and maybe platinum on some things. And you got a pin and got certified. So that helped you for when you graduated high school, that you were work ready nationally for any courses related to these simple skills. All you have to do is show your certifications. And a lot of times that will be like your in to certain jobs. So yeah, I appreciate Ms. Tovey and that program for all of that, because those courses led me to what I did in college, which is forensic science and criminal justice. And so in college, I have 6 pieces of paper from college. I have 2 certifications, 2 diplomas, and 2 degrees, which are in forensic science, technology, and criminal justice. This school was cool because they had built this 2-story house for the public safety program. So we can do our mock crime scenes in and use the surrounding land as well. Footprints, tire trail marks, all that stuff. We can do all that, as well as the police and fire programs also used it to do their practice mocks and things like that in the school too. And that was helpful because, how do you plan for a crime scene on a house if you don't have a house to practice on? And as part of I had to get a chance as part of the internship, I was able to work for the local sheriff's office. So I worked at the jail. I worked on ride-alongs. I went to crime scenes. I could definitely talk about my first crime scene. If you really want to get into that, just let me know in the comments below because it gets kind of crazy. But yeah, my first crime scene. One of my first ride-alongs we went to a school. This girl, there's a chance that she may have been being essayed. And so we were called to the school to show up and see if there's anything I guess we could do or anything. I guess it was a concerned parent and or a concerned teacher and faculty. But one thing that I did notice, I don't know if it's mad because you can't make them tell you anything, unfortunately, but she was a little girl and she wore this huge oversized hoodie and jacket. So like to the point where like her sleeves were past her fingers. And I'm like, she's possibly covering up bruises or, marks and things like that. I know it's so important because there's nothing we could do because there's no proof and there's nothing that shows any evidence. So I hope she's doing fine. But yeah, that was one of my ride-alongs. And then working in the jail, I was in the women's ward first. And of course, they put me on, I think it was C block with another female PO. And Lord and behold, guys don't care that their POs and COs are women. They'll talk junk and show things that they shouldn't be showing people, for that matter, anyone for that matter. And it's like, okay, cool, whatever, don't care. You only get out for an hour a day anyway, sir. 23 hours in, 1 hour out. That's on you. No, I'm not using any of my degrees, and that's okay. Like I was speaking earlier, like finding out what you want to do doesn't have to be figured out immediately. You still could be finding yourself, and that's okay. Like find your way. Like there isn't a book and it's not a race. So find your way of how you want to do things, and whatever's making you happy, keep doing it. If there's stuff that's not making you happy and not contributing to yourself, then remove it. If it's possible, just remove it. And it's okay that, you're this age and this is happening and you allegedly should have been doing this by this point. That's not real. You're forging your own path, and the only path that matters is the one that you are on and the one that you're creating, and that is it. In the comments, let me know any interesting school stories you have. I would like to know if you participated in music, art, band, or anything. Did you do art? Did you do science? Were you the science guy too, the science girl too? Did you do history? I do have a good friend that loves history, so I can imagine there's a lot of those people too. But yeah, let me know. But yeah, it's like you control your destiny. I do appreciate all the people I met, the experiences I've had during school days, and the things that I've learned and incorporated, and that's still instilled into me now. But just know you're still in charge of your own destiny. But yeah, I hope everyone's getting back to school, already started shopping, getting school supplies, things like that. I'm going to make sure I donate again to some, school drives. One of the local doctors near us has a school drive bucket, so I'm going to make sure I bring some for them. And so, yeah, get back to school. Sorry, parents, for the return, but again, at least they get to be out of your house. But I know you're going to miss them. But there's, yay, they're gone, but oh, I miss them around. And so everything's going to be fine. I hope with education as far as post-pandemic is going a lot smoother. I hope. I would love to know that there's schools and students experiencing the cool elements that I've had that will, spark me for the rest of my life. So, but yeah, school days, what you gonna do? You gotta go to school, right? As always, I appreciate you guys from coming in, liking and subscribing. Don't forget to comment, turn on the notification bell. We're still on the path to 20 subscribers strong. Yes, I know, right? Yes. And I appreciate every one of you, my fitness family, my coworkers, everyone. I love you guys. And this is Ty June. Thanks for tuning in. You made it to the end. I see you next weekend.